What are 3 types of business operations? Hey, if you're the one in your business doing everything all the time, you don't have operations. What you got is a gig. Business operations really has about 3 types, but you're probably only using one or none. By the end of this video, you're gonna know the 3 different business operations types, and you're gonna be able to run them from one cockpit, like a pilot. Now, before we dive into business operations, we do need to ask the question, what are business operations? Because if I line 10 different people up and asked each of those individual people, hey, what is business operations, or what are the type of business operations? Probably gonna get 10 different responses. So if we broke business operations down, I really wanna kind of bifurcate it. You like that word? That's pretty cool. That's a $10 word. I'm gonna need you to just put in the comments if you got a better word than that. But I wanna bifurcate it into 2 things. Number 1 is the business operations, which are the tools to run the business. So if you're taking notes, that's the first thing to run down. And second, there's a business operations that are the processes to run the product. So we have the operational tools to run the business, the operational processes to run the product. So when we talk about business operations, we need to talk about the 2 bifurcated kinds, and then within the macro business operations, there are really 3 verticals, and then within that 4th vertical, we've got 4 other processes. I know it may not make sense, so I've got a visual that can show you that I think will really bring clarity to this. But let me tell you what business operations is not. Before I show you all this, it's probably not doing what you're currently doing, and that is running the majority of your business by yourself, or just trying to wing it every day even though you got employees, but they're not really doing what you ask them to do, or the way they ask you to do it, or when they ask you to do it, or anything like that. And so that's not business operations if we're trying to run this entire thing out of our head. We've got to get this stuff out into an operating system so that system can be grabbed by other people. Think about it, kind of like this pen. This pen theoretically is a great idea. Be able to, something that's blue, to write stuff down. But the pen, once it's actually objectified, put into a tool, now I can use it. The same is true with your business operations. Theoretically, great idea, but once we get it into a system, now we can start to leverage that system so that we can be liberated from chaos to make time for what matters most. So I told you about those 2 types of business operations. You're like, well, what's the third? Well, the third is super simple, and that is your mindset. Your mindset around the business operations is incredibly important. So if we take these 2 operational functions, that's the tools to run the business, the processes to run the product. Now what we need is that 3rd operational process of your mindset to see this whole thing and start to run the business as a series of processes rather than running the business as just sort of, we're gonna wing it every day. I want you to think of operations like a cockpit in an airplane, right? You don't have a pilot. I'll be on a plane later today. I hope I don't get on that plane and the pilot's like, oh, I gotta jump up and go, crank up the prop. I hope it's not a prop. But I gotta go crank up the prop, I've gotta go make sure the wings are down, I gotta make sure the tires are up. No, you can't fly a plane that way. You've gotta sit in the cockpit and you've gotta fly the plane, the entire plane from that cockpit. You've gotta notify the flight attendants. You've gotta ensure that the air conditioning is working properly, the right engine, the left engine, the front and the back and all the wings and everything that's there. You've gotta be able to operate from one cockpit. Well, I want your business to be the same, to where you can operate the entire business just from one cockpit. All right, so how are we gonna do that? Well, we're going to break those operations down. If you have the mindset, first operation, to then run the 2nd operational function, and that is the 4 foundational cornerstones. So we're going to break this down into macro and micro, all right? So the ultimate macro is your mindset, but the macro of the business are these 4 foundational cornerstones, and every business has these 4. You ready? Purpose, that tells everybody where this business is going. People, that tells the business who's involved in getting us there to this purpose. Process, those are all the hundreds of individual tasks that it takes to market, to sell, to fulfill the product, and to administer, HR, accounting, all that. And then the profit. That's a little bit different than the accounting side that's found down here in administration. The profit are those legacy tools to run the business to make sure you have fuel in the business so that everything else can operate. If you run out of gas in the profit vertical, you got no people to deliver the process to get to your purpose. That makes sense? So you got to have all of these working in conjunction together. That's why we call this the operating system. Hey, before I go any further, this can overwhelm you. I don't want it to. Imagine you sat down in a cockpit of an airplane and were like, I don't know what to do with this thing. That's okay. That's okay. That's why we're here. We're pilot trainers, essentially. And we work with business owners between 3 and 100 employees and work with you. We have all of this templated out, boilerplated. So all we do is take the information from your business and customize all of this in here. And so if you need that help, we've got tools on our website, on this YouTube channel. You can reach out to us and we can help you walk through this. So what we do is we take your unique information, insight from the business, we plug it into all of these templates, but it's not just like an AI bot doing this. We've got a team of 12 full-time professionals. Our coaches are doing 50 to 60 hours of coaching meetings every week collectively, and then every single one of our coaches goes through 80 to 100 hours of training a year. We've been doing this for over a decade. We see this all the time. So this becomes very common for us. What is uncommon for you is common for us, and we can help you be able to do that. All right, so if you were to do this, how would we go about making sure that we've got the operational process here and to run the business and the operational process to run the product? All right, so I wanted to pause and just catch you before you got overwhelmed. So in the purpose vertical is where we articulate our vision, mission, values, culture. I don't want you to get too far off and trying to figure out all of the nuances of this. Again, we've got all that templated if you need help around that thing. But ultimately, the purpose vertical tells us where is this business going. Then we have the people vertical, things like org charts, job roles, how we onboard new team members, our hiring processes, our onboarding processes, and tracking goals and accountability for those team members. We've got our profit vertical with all those tools to be able to ensure that we have the right amount of cash. But then this is where we dive down into the micro operations. So this is the macro up here. And then the third type of ops is the micro. Remember, mindset, then we've got the macro, then we've got the micro. This is where we start to map out all of the tasks, the individual tasks that it takes to actually fulfill the product. A simple way to do that. So we have what we call a master process roadmap down here. Take all these MSOA, marketing, sales, ops, and admin, put it into horizontal form, and start to map out every process that currently exists in your business. I want to encourage you that you can do that right now. You have the capability to be able to do that right now. You can get a scratch sheet of paper, you can get a spreadsheet, write marketing, sales, ops, and admin across the top, and just set a timer for 15 minutes and start to write down every process that currently exists in your business. The truth is you already know what they are. We just got to get them out of your head onto a sheet of paper so that we can objectify that thing and understand this is what needs to get done. Then we can disseminate to the team. So a couple years ago, my wife and I celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary, and I wanted to be able to just spend time with her. And I think she wanted to spend time with me too. It was good, mutual wanting to spend time with each other. And so we planned something pretty significant for us. But in order to do it, we had to leave our business for 30 days. And so you look at that, and I'm going to ask you a question right now. If you left your business for 30 days, could it run and grow without you? How about 14? What about 7? How about 3? Now some of you are like, well, I would just work remote. Yeah, I can go. No, that's not what I asked. Could you turn off your email, your cell phone, and your text messaging services or whatever and go do that? Now, most of you would answer that question, no. We were able to do that. Why? Is because we had documented all of these processes from a macro, and we had installed a team to be able to run these things while I wasn't there. And then we had all these processes from the micro that the team knew exactly what to do from a task by task standpoint. And so if this is in place, now all of a sudden it gives you freedom, not just vacation or time away, that's not what I'm talking about, but just freedom to wake up every day and realize that I've got a business running with or without me. Now I'm going to continue to reinvest. I'm going to continue to lean into this business. But until I identified the 3 core business operations, then I can't delegate that to another team. So remember, we've got our mindset as operation number 1. We've got the macro operations as operations number 2. And we've got the micro operations with all the tasks as operations number 3. So how do you get this disseminated out? First, we're going to map out, we see the operating system. So I'm helping you see that and visualize that right now. Then we're going to map out the individual tasks and processes that it takes. Once we map this out, we are then going to document each one of these. So let's say you go into marketing and we've got a marketing social media channel posting process. Great. We're going to document what that looks like, or we're going to hit record on a screen capture software and actually show somebody on video what it looks like. And then we're going to train them. So we're going to map, document, train. MDT. And then we're going to do another acronym, RPM. Okay, we're going to map, document, and train with repetition, predictability, and meaning. Do it over and over and over again. When I was coming up in school, I had coaches, sport coaches. You know what one of their favorite lines was? Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. And it helped me. What helped me? The repetition. Now, not the repetition the wrong way. That's why we want to document this process. But the repetition the right way. And so if we can map, document, and train and do it with repetition, predictability, and meaning, then we can really lean into these 3 different operating systems that will help your business run and grow with or without you. Now, I know one of your biggest challenges is going to be able to think, well, I don't know that I've got anybody to help me. Well, you're going to need people to help you. And once you have all this documented out, those people are going to have clarity around what they can help you with. So there's another video that you just absolutely have to go spend some time with that I've got. As soon as you're done with this one, go in the description below. I've got a video on how to train new employees and bring them into the system so that they understand what's being asked of them and they can grow into this so your business can run and grow with or without you. So make sure to go watch that video. Listen, our entire business, me and our team of coaches, we do one thing. We work with business owners, 3 to 100 employees, to build their purpose, people, process, and profit, their entire operating system, so that you, the business owner, can be liberated from chaos to make time for what matters most.